Conservative New Media viewers and Jeremy Lin fans around the world, what's going on? It is me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and the last video wasn't so fun. What we had to talk about regarding my thoughts about Jeremy could be being put in a position where he might get traded eventually. However, this video is going to be a lot more fun. And that's because we have a couple of stories to talk about coming out of Taiwan ahead of the Rockets versus Pacers game that is going to take place in less than 24 hours in Taipei, Taiwan. David Stern, the outgoing NBA commissioner, is in Taiwan with the teams. And he had some remarks to say about Jeremy, and I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about an article from Jonathan Feigen of the Houston Chronicle, who got to talk with Jeremy and with Jeremy's dad, Guy Ming, and he wrote a really nice piece, and it's already starting to spread around Twitter. And I know a lot of people are enjoying this piece, so I wanted to talk about these two articles. First of all, I will put information about the two articles in the video description below the video player, so you can go and check those out, and find them. Okay, as you can see in the title of this video, David Stern said, quote, "Jeremy Lin is a true milestone for us." Now, what he means, my understanding here, is that you have a player, I believe the first player in the history of the NBA, who is of Taiwanese descent. And that is a milestone. And I also think that Jeremy might be, he's certainly one of the only players, or one of the few players currently in the NBA who is from or has heritage from Asia. And that is important. As I have talked about repeatedly in these videos, basketball is growing enormously throughout Asia right now. That is a big reason why the NBA is staging these preseason games in Asia, because they want to capitalize on that surge in popularity of the sport throughout Asia. Well, if you want to market to a particular group of people, then it's not a bad strategy to have somebody like that is from the region or who has heritage from the region and use him as kind of like a spokesperson. And that's what the NBA appears to be doing with Jeremy. And as I said, that's intelligent. That's good marketing. So Stern said a few other things about Jeremy, and I wanted to share them with you and comment on them. Stern said the following, quote, "I think he alone is going to have enormous impact on more and more Asian youngsters playing basketball, with the view that if they sacrifice, work hard, and become teammates, they can move to a higher level," unquote. Stern also said that Jeremy, quote, "has been adopted by all countries in Asia as their very own." Finally, Stern said, quote, "Eventually there will be more Asian players playing professional basketball in the NBA, and that's the legacy that's going to come from Jeremy Lin's success," unquote. Now, as I have said to you guys several times in making these videos, there are going to be more players coming of Asian descent into the NBA. The process goes something like this. You have enormous surge in interest in a particular sport or field in a country or a region. So more and more people are paying attention to that, and they want to be like or imitate their role models, their heroes, the people that are in the NBA. And so more and more people begin playing the sport and working hard to become better at the sport. And then pretty soon, you've got a bunch of people from that new region who are good enough to compete as professionals in that sport. That's what's going to happen here. I agree with David Stern about that. You are going to get more Asian ballers who are going to be high-level players. And so having somebody like Jeremy Lin for these people to look up to, that's critical, because they can observe Jeremy. They can see Linsanity 1.0 and say, I could do that. Hey, he's like me. I could be able to do that maybe. And so what David Stern is saying is absolutely correct. And it is going to be a part of Jeremy's legacy. This is one reason why Jeremy is such a gigantic figure globally. He represents the hopes of millions and millions of fans and players throughout Asia that, yeah, you can be in the NBA too. And not only can you be in the NBA, you can be in the NBA and you can also go get a great education at a place like Harvard. Yao Ming mentioned something along these lines in the past, saying, yeah, Jeremy shows that you don't have to sacrifice education to be able to be a professional level basketball player. And of course, as many of you know, and as education is something that is stressed in a number of Asian communities and households. So in other words, if there's a choice to be made between education and sports, sports is going to get pushed aside. But with somebody like Jeremy, you realize you can do both things. You don't have to give up your dreams of being a basketball player in order to go into and succeed at an Ivy League university like Harvard. So I'm really happy that David Stern came out and said these things. He's right, in my opinion. He's correct. And I put out a tweet saying Jeremy Lin is a harbinger for where the NBA is going. Harbinger means something that you see that signals more of that thing are coming. And in this regard, it means Jeremy's a player of Asian descent, and there's going to be more players of Asian descent coming to the NBA. And he's not the first, but he's the most prominent one right now. And that's going to happen. And he's going to have a big role in it happening. And David Stern is perceptive about this, and I'm glad that he said it. David Stern has said many nice things about Jeremy in the past. And David Stern understands how important Jeremy is for the NBA in terms of marketing to Asia. It makes sense for him to promote Jeremy, and that's what he's doing. And I'm glad that he's doing it. So this was a really great thing for David Stern to say and to come out and do, and I'm glad that he did it. Now let's turn to Jonathan Feigen's article from the Houston Chronicle. Feigen is traveling with the team, as is, all of a sudden I can't remember his first name, Friedman of Rockets.com. I think it's also Jonathan. Those two are with the team. And Jonathan Feigen got to speak with Jeremy, I believe, and with Jeremy's father, Guy Ming, who is also on this trip, as I believe is Jeremy's mother, Shirley, and I think another member or several members of Jeremy's family, which of course makes sense. They're in Taiwan, which is where Shirley and Guy Ming are from. if you have the opportunity to go back there with Jeremy and visit family and friends, that makes sense that they would do that. So I'm glad that they're having a chance to do that. Well, Jeremy said a couple different things, just talking about Taiwan and how much it means to him to be returning there. He said, quote, "I have a lot of respect for Taiwan." And that makes a lot of sense. That's his parents' homeland. He has connection with the place. And it's great that he kind of gets to go home as a returning hero. And the success story. This is good. This event, this trip, both of the games in Manila and Taipei are huge events for Asia. This trip to Taipei is even bigger than the one in Manila because Jeremy's involved and what this means for him, for the nation, etc. And it's being treated like that over in Asia. It's being covered like that. For us in America, this is just another preseason game. For people in Asia and people in Taiwan, this is gigantic. This is huge. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's like the American football Super Bowl, but it's kind of like that because it involves them and somebody from their community. And that's tremendous. Jeremy said that, quote, "For us to be in Taiwan and part of this huge extravaganza in the country where my parents grew up, it's definitely, a miracle," unquote. Again, Jeremy being a person who is religious, I believe Jeremy sees things in terms of miracles and signs from God and this type of thing. It would make sense that he would look at it this way. And I agree with him. Given what he's gone through, it is a miracle. It is a miracle that he's gotten to this point in the NBA and in his career. And it shows you what hard work and perseverance can do, how it can translate to success and recognition. Now, Jonathan Feigen, I believe, spoke with, again, Jeremy's father, Guy Ming, and his dad had some really nice things to say. Here's one of the things that Guy Ming said, quote, "I don't know how to say it, but for me as a parent to see Jeremy reach this level and play in the NBA in Taiwan, I'm just very proud to have such a son who can reach this level and can be a role model for people in Taiwan and also in China and all Asian countries. I'm so proud of him," unquote. And look, this is just a great story. It's a Hollywood story. The Lins, my understanding, emigrated. They came over from Taiwan, came to the United States, had to work very, 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 very hard to achieve success in the United States. And now their son's in the NBA, and he's a star. He's known around the world. Guy Ming said this also to Jonathan Feigen, quote, "He's so popular in the whole world," unquote, meaning Jeremy. Yeah, he is popular, which, as you guys know, if you've watched these videos, I try to tell people over and over again, you don't understand how popular Jeremy is all over the world. Yeah, you read Twitter, you hear people in America, you go to internet forums and people are writing him down and he can't play. That's like a tiny, teeny little group of people. And then you stack that up against how many fans Jeremy has. It's insignificant. It's like nothing. Jeremy is unbelievably popular around the world. You can see it in the success of his videos that he does and how many fans he has. Look, it's not difficult to understand why this is the case. As I mentioned, Jeremy's one of the few players of Asian descent ever in the NBA. And now he had Linsanity 1.0. He played in a huge market like New York, and he was a star. And so for all of these people around the world, all of these people in Asia and of Asian American heritage around the world and in America, he's their guy. He makes them feel proud. He represents success of their community. Of course he's popular. This is what I don't understand with some of the haters and whatever. Is like, why are you so upset that Jeremy's popular? He's just one person. Why is that a problem for people? Why can't this group of people have somebody that they can cheer for? Why is that an issue? I never understood that. Well, honestly, I do understand it, but it's unfortunate. Jeremy shouldn't be seen as a threat to anybody. He should be seen as it's a good thing. Now everybody gets to participate. You can have somebody of an Asian American or Asian background, and he gets to be part of the discussion too. He's a good player too. He gets to be looked at as a role model, as an idol, as a heartthrob. Why is that bad? Oh, it's not bad. It shouldn't be looked at as bad, in my opinion. So it's not complicated to understand why Jeremy means so much to so many people. I believe that, and I'd have to look this up, I believe that Asia is probably the most populous region of the world. So, of course, he's going to have a lot of fans. Of course. If there were only one player in the NBA from Russia, do you think that Russian fans are going to like that player and look up to them? Well, of course they are. I mean, that's a natural affinity and connection that they're going to have with that player. Well, it's the same thing for Jeremy, which is exactly what David Stern said. Everybody around Asia has adopted Jeremy as their own. He's their person. He's their representative. Of course they support him. Good. Great. I love it. I think it's tremendous. Again, as somebody who's been an NBA fan for his entire life, I've watched the NBA for at least 30 years, and I'm 41 years old. This is awesome. This is the growth of the game. I remember watching the NBA in the early 80s, and a little bit before that, when it wasn't popular. It was trying to come out of a bad period in the 70s. I remember when games were tape delayed. They weren't live because nobody cared. And then Magic and Larry Bird started coming along and changing things, and it's come so far since that time, and now it's one of the most popular sports in the world. This is a natural development of the sport. And it's great. If you care about this game of basketball and you care about the NBA, you should welcome Jeremy Lin with open arms. Don't try to put him down or diss him or try to whatever. This is a good thing. This is going to make basketball even bigger than what it already is. And if you want fans in Asia, it's great to have somebody like Jeremy Lin because now they have more interest. I talk to people all the time in the comments and on Twitter. They only watch basketball because of Jeremy. which is to say, if Jeremy's not around, or if you don't have somebody like Jeremy, they're not going to watch. It's kind of like Tiger Woods and golf. There are a whole bunch of people, they only watch golf if Tiger's playing. And so if Tiger's not around, you're losing a whole bunch of fans. That's what this is with Jeremy. So Tiger's good for golf. Jeremy Lin's good for basketball. And that's about it. Again, I'm very happy for and proud of Jeremy and his family. This is an American success story. This is a traditional, typical American success story. Immigrants come to the country, they sacrifice like crazy, they work, and they succeed. And their children succeed. And sometimes the children become stars and global icons. I'm thrilled for Jeremy Lin, for his entire family. His dad, Guy Ming, his mother, Shirley, his brother, Josh, his brother, Joseph, and all of their extended family. I'm so happy that they're out there in front, that they're making videos. And let me just say this, because I made a mistake before in not recognizing either Shirley Lin, Mrs. Lin, or Josh Lin, Jeremy's brother, in one of the videos that I reviewed. Well, I've been working on that, and hopefully that won't happen again. So again, I apologize to Mrs. Lin in that video. I said, if I'm wrong that this is Mrs. Lin, I apologize, Mrs. Lin. And I was wrong, and it was Jeremy's mother in the video, the You Changed Bro. But I've been working on that so I can better identify the Lins when I see them in terms of father and mother and the brothers. And so I will work to correct that. But I'm just thrilled for these guys. I'm thrilled for them. I'm thrilled for the NBA. I'm thrilled for the Asian community, the Asian American community. One thing that you see if you study these things, when I was in college, I'm half Mexican. I'm of a Latino background. I took studies about Mexican history or Mexican American Latino history. I was always aware of cultural study issues. And part of that is kind of the narrative about different communities and how they're seen and how they're represented. Well, if you're familiar with the concerns of the Asian community and the Asian American community, and believe me, I agree with these concerns. One of the things you often hear from them is that they're presented as geeky, intellectuals, but they're not athletic. They're not seen as attractive. They're kind of pigeonholed, particularly in a place like America, where there's still a relatively small percentage of the population. And I agree with that. I think that's true. And it's unfortunate. Well, if you get somebody like Jeremy, now he's breaking through all of that. Hey, he gets to get represented as somebody that's good looking and athletic and cool. Of course they want to protect him. Of course they identify with him. He's a breakthrough to get past all of these poor representations. And I can tell you right now, in my opinion, Jeremy knows this. His family knows this. They know what he means to Asia and to people of Asian descent. And that's good. This is part of the reason why a Linsanity documentary was made. Everybody deserves to feel good about themselves and good about their community and good about their background. So I don't want to get caught up in it. People get caught up in this negativity with Jeremy. Oh, he's overhyped. And well, why do you think people are attached to him? Why do you think people have emotional attachments to him? Because there's a scarcity of other examples that are being put out there. So it's important. Jeremy is important to the Asian and Asian American communities. That's my read of it. And admittedly, I'm an outsider. I'm not in the community, so I can't speak for the community. But I read a lot of stuff and I see a lot of stuff, and I understand what Jeremy represents for the community. And I understand what Jeremy represents for people outside of the community as well, both positively and negatively. This is a great story. This is a great story. In some ways, this is the pinnacle of Jeremy's career right here today in an exhibition game in Taiwan, because he's made it. He's the centerpiece of this exhibition. He's probably the reason, in my opinion, why this exhibition is taking place and why Houston went to Taiwan for this exhibition rather than another team, because of Jeremy. Look, he's got a lot of burden on his shoulders. And obviously, as we talked about in the last video, he's got plenty of doubters still, including perhaps people in the organization of the team that he is currently with. And that's, that's the way it is. Let's accept that. The same way that Jeremy has accepted it. That doesn't mean we like it. But business is business. The world isn't going to stop for Jeremy Lin. In other words, teams still want to win, and teams still have an idea of how they want to do things, and that's okay. Because just like David Stern said, Jeremy is just the beginning. There will come a time, I am very sure, where people of Asian heritage, people, Asian Americans, they're going to have a whole bunch of people to choose from in terms of who they want to look up to for an NBA player. When I mean that, I mean people of Asian heritage to choose from. You can like anybody you want, and of course, people like many people of different backgrounds. But in terms of a role model or somebody that you can relate to, I think the time's going to come where you'll have a whole bunch of choices beyond just Jeremy Lin. But for now, it's pretty much Jeremy Lin. And that's why he's so popular among that community. And I understand that. I'm happy that every community has somebody that they can feel that way about. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I want everybody to feel part of the process. And this is a good thing. And this is great. This is going to be a celebration tonight in Taiwan. Jeremy is going to start, as we know, and as we've talked about, and Lin Garden's going to be there, the fan club that we are close with and we really appreciate. A whole bunch of people are going to be there, and they're going to feel great because they get to be a part of this. They get to feel part of the NBA table. And they're there. They're not off on the side. They're part of it. Good. Thank you, Jeremy Lin, for helping to make that happen. And thank you to the Lin family for making it happen. Because if it wasn't for Mr. and Mrs. Lin, this wouldn't be happening. They raised Jeremy the right way. They taught him about hard work. They taught him to have perseverance. They set the example. And that's how Jeremy got to this point. Everybody has people in their life that set them up for success or failure. So we need to examine everybody. So I am glad that all of the Lins are getting this recognition. They deserve it. Tonight is their night. And it's Taiwan's night. And I love it. Sweet. We'll be watching. I can't wait. I can't wait for the game. I hope Jeremy does great. I hope the team wins. This is going to be a lot of fun. And it's just great to be a part of it. As I've said it before, I've been around sports for a very long time in various capacities. I've been on the internet talking sports for 20 years. I've known a lot of communities, fan communities, interacted with a lot of them, been a part of a lot of them. I've never, ever met a better group of fans than Jeremy's fans. They're the most kind, generous, supportive, giving people I've ever seen. And I'm not saying this to put down anybody else or any other fan community. I just want to give credit to Jeremy's fan community. And look, everything starts from the top. And in this instance, Jeremy's the top. In other words, his example is what makes the fan community so great, because they're fans of him because of how he is. He's a good person. Jonathan Feigen was saying, yeah, Jeremy basically got him a custom pair of Nikes that he wanted. And Jeremy didn't have to do that, but he did it. That's how he is. That's who he is. And so if you're like that, then your fans are going to be like that because they like you because of how you are. So if you're a nice person, a good person, your fans are probably going to be nice and good people too, because that's why they're attracted to you, because you're similar to how they are. Myself, John, my brother, we've been the recipient of all kinds of gracious acts from Jeremy's fans. We've received gifts. We've gotten free artwork for us. We've gotten all kinds of kind words and support in what we do. And that's just the beginning of how awesome Jeremy's fan club is. They just do so much good work. And they're just good people. And we respect that quite a bit. It's another reason to like Jeremy, because of his fans. Now, I know there are people and there are places on the internet and they think the Lin fans are overboard, some of them. That's true. That happens. But the overall fan base for Jeremy is awesome. They're really good people. So that's it for this video. This was great what David Stern said. This is great that the Lin family gets to kind of go back to Taiwan as the returning heroes and be celebrated like this and be able to experience this. They deserve it, and it's a long time coming. And as I've said before, Jeremy's doing great in his life and in his career. Just keep working. Just keep going. The worst is over. I think it's going to get better and better for him going forward. So that's it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Your comments below. I will try to get down to the comments as soon as I can. It is currently 7:30 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. on Saturday, October 12th, 2013, which means it is Saturday, October 12th, 2013, 7:30 p.m. in Taipei, Taiwan, and in Manila, the Philippines. I hope everybody's doing great. Hope you're having a great day or great night wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. I'm sure all of you guys are excited for the game tonight. I can't wait. Let's see how Jeremy looks with the starters. He looked pretty good in the last game when he got to start, and he looked pretty good in the previous game when he wasn't starting. So hopefully we'll continue to see him playing well. And we'll be here to talk about it after the game ends. Till then, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.